Okay. So, Akshay, let's go to the first slide. So this is just to give um, Manoj a very quick introduction. So, Manoj, what we are going to deal now is something called as an S4 a HANA system, which is the latest form of the enterprise core system, the ERP system, what SAP is evolving into, which is where we would be doing a lot of real-time analytic requirement, right? So, as Hamna said, you can go through the previous sections, the previous session recording where we have detailed out a lot of information on what is S4 and how it works, so that gives you a little bit background on the tool that we are going to work in, right? So, actually, let's move to our day one or day two part. Yeah. So from the last session, I assume that you guys, would have understood what your SAP system S4 HANA means, how it is, benefiting us as a technology consultant and the business, and then we understood what we need to do on a high level, to enable ourselves to work on CDS modeling, right? So we did not get a chance to go a little bit in deeper for the CDS modeling approach. So we told that we would be covering in this part. So again, here I'm going to give you a theoretical introduction on how we should be doing a modeling, and this today's session is going to be structured in a way where I first give you the theory introduction on what is what, so that where I will also give you a flavor of how certain concepts should be understood, and then we would go into a practical session where we would show you how a basic CDS view would be created, and as I understood, majority of the consultants here in this particular call is looking for um, to break through an interview or to gain an experience, or to showcase that they have gained some kind of an experience in an interview, right? So in interview, most of the questions would be around the practical scenarios, what we have worked on, and what they test is what we are not supposed to do in a system, because it is always much easier to figure out what we can do, and a, a good interviewer will focus on, will test you on what you have done, and in case he'll also test you on why not do it this way, and those are the tricky questions where we should know what is doable and what is not doable, right? So I would throughout this course, not just today, I'm going to take you, we are going to learn and unlearn, learn and unlearn till we get the right mode of the modeling concepts into our head, right? So which means that what I tell you today, tomorrow I would modify it a little bit more and tell you, because tell you a different thing. The reason is, if you do not uh, know the implications of doing a certain things a certain way, then you will never know the disadvantage of doing such same things, right? So this is where I am setting the expectation. So don't worry, by the end of seventh or eighth hour, before we hit the actual project scenarios, you guys would be a master of the modeling concepts and would be able to answer questions around the modeling strategy and things like that, right? So now let's go into the modeling concepts. So you guys are, I think at least predominant, people in this group have already had the HANA training and the BW for HANA training, correct? So what I'm going to tell you is not new. It is just a repainted version. But what we need to know is we just cannot simply apply the same concept and then do it over here, because this is again a virtual concept. So you would have learned about LSA, LSA plus plus, when we talk about the BW technology, and then when you go to HANA, it is completely using only a single object. There is which is the calculation view, and that's about it. So previously, at least, we had multiple, type of HANA views which we would be using in our modeling, but SAP has eventually changed. It has perfected the modeling in such a way that now predominantly only calculation views would be used to deliver any requirements in your HANA view. So similarly, your series view right now are having many views. Okay, so we are going to call it a basic view, we are going to call it a composite view, and we are going to call it a consumption view. But take it from me, eventually 2 or 3 years down the line, whatever I'm telling you today is going to be obsolete, because SAP is working on perfecting this modeling technique as well, because embedded analytics is something which is clicking within the customer group, as in the end consumer group, for SAP. So as a consultant, they have a team who are heavily working on perfecting the modeling aspects for the CDS content, and where they are trying to cut the fat on the modeling, like how they did on HANA. But we are we have a long way to go for them to release it into our technology group. So for now, we would understand what it is, so that you would be able to always work on what will be, since you know the history, right? So, as I told you, the S4 HANA system is already having a denormalized data. So, when I say denormalized data, um, we do not, so we tend to store all the information into a single table, and that is possible because of all the features what I had explained in the session one, with the abilities of HANA, right? So now with this particular S4 HANA ECC table example, let's take for finance, you're going to do, an AC ACDOCA is your universal journal entry, general ledger item table in your S4 HANA system. So with that particular information, I'm going to expose that particular view to something called as a basic view, and then on top of a basic view, we would be creating a composite view, and on top of a composite view, we would be creating something called as a consumption. Now, why do we need all these three? So I can talk for next 20 minutes to explain only this particular concept as to why we need these different views, but it is not going to give you the flavor what you're looking for to answer your personal question. So I would like to do this while we are doing the demo. The necessity for you to have a different set of views in place, right? So you should, if you want to have a one-to-one mapping for this particular modeling standard, if you want to compare this with LSA, then consider your basic cube, as your staging layer, and then your composite view is where we apply our business logic, and then your consumption view is the one which is going to be delivered to us, bifurcating the requirements as per the user needs. Okay, but that is just a comparison. It is not true on one is to one piece, right? So we would understand that the reason why I am bringing in BW modeling concept is, it is for a very conscious decision, because it would be much easier. Those who are familiar with BW would be able to relate it much easier, and those who don't worry. When I am explaining again, when we go into the practical scenarios, I would again touch base on certain of the necessities as to why we would need it. So don't worry too much about it.